We are live. Welcome back. Excuse me. Sinuses are getting the better of you, boy. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Very unprofessional of me, but we are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that all of you are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Huge show in store for you tonight. You asked for him. He will be here. Memphis Spence joins us at 7:30 to talk all things college football. He is a voter for multiple awards around college football. We will talk all of college football with him. What does he think of the Heisman? And he votes for the Maxwell Award winner and semifinalist in Jaden Daniels. We will talk to him about that. Ruffino's rants. Not saw if you saw this RG3 and myself comment. I just don't understand the disrespect. Like I don't understand. I just don't understand it. Like RG3 saying that Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. should win over Jaden, and me and him going back and forth on Twitter. I don't understand it. RG3 won the award and got blanked through 3 quarters in 2011. Remember the year that Oklahoma State should have played LSU in the national title game and lost late in the year, and it was LSU and Alabama? Remember that? Because I do. Well, that Oklahoma State team put in their second team in the fourth quarter, and finally RG3, who had 2 interceptions in that game, finally Baylor could score. You had a guy last year that lost 3 games before he won the award, and he got it. Like, what are we talking? What is your disrespect? Why do you hate this guy so much? RG3 said, "Oh, I don't hate him." You called one of his games and said something about him being on a cross or something. Remember that? Like an idiot. So dumb. So dumb. Nevertheless, we'll talk about that. One thing LSU must do this week. Look, I get it. You do not want to hear a lot of Georgia State breakdown. I get it. Guys, we're going to have to get off the field on third down. Georgia State is a top 10 team in the country on third down offensively. If you cannot look, I'm telling you, I'm just listen to your boy. Do I think you're going to blow him out? Yes. Do I think Jaden is going to play a lot of time in this game this week after listening to Brian Kelly on the SEC teleconference today? Yes. I think he might get a little bit extended to get some more stats. Yes, I think that that's possible. I also believe that he might have to play it regardless, in the sense of what your defense is arguably worst at is the biggest strength for Georgia State. Remember earlier in the year where your worst thing was what you were doing in your secondary and Grambling was moving the ball on you? Like, this team's going to come and run the ball, want to run the ball all over you. They are exceptional on third down. They are a very well coached team, and they have great play calling on third downs. If you do not take them seriously on defense, which at some point you got to take somebody seriously if you're this defense, like, do something. One thing LSU must do. We talked about Memphis Spence. We'll go around your SEC. Eli Drinkowitz. How about old Eli? Taking shots, shaking hands with Josh Heupel, talking some mad trash. And Florida, did Florida just like get did Florida just pull a Notre Dame? Remember when Notre Dame got bad when LSU beat them in the Sugar Bowl and Miami? Like, did LSU break those teams? Guys, Florida is losing recruits like flies, man. Like, it's insane. It is absolutely insane. We'll talk about all that. Oh, and by the way, I'll give you my SEC picks, and I will give you my week 12 picks that we just did on Ruffino and Joe's show. I'll expand on them a little bit here. Kent Jones with a $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much, Kent. If you have a comment, you can fire them inside. You can fire it inside the chat. We'll get to as many of them as we can. LA Mom 2020 says, at Blake, RG3 feels threatened, so he does not want to acknowledge JD5's success. I somewhat do agree with that. And let me tell you why. Because like Jane Daniels passed and broke both RG3's records when he played against Ole Miss. Like he broke the, I think, career passing yards record and rush yard record for a quarterback when RG3 called the game. I can see that. I can see that. It's insane. Like, wow. Our good friend Stephen Fry over from Fry Construction. You can give them a call. They're over there in Eunice. Dirt work, hauling, aggregate and soil hauling. They do it all, dude. Y'all better give them a call. They're out there in Eunice. But Stephen says the JD5 disrespect from reputable people in the media is mind-boggling. He's far beyond the best player in college football. Let's get the party started, Blake. Hashtag AYS. I think that he is. I think he's the best player in college football. And RG3, man, he just like, what are we doing? Like, you should be defending the guy, because you not defending the guy. I mean, then does Tyrann Mathieu deserve your award? Like, that's what I'm telling him. Does Tyrann Mathieu in 2011 deserve the Heisman more than you did? Because he didn't lose a game. He didn't lose a game in the regular season. You did. You got blanked by Oklahoma State. What do you think that 2011 defense would have done to you? And Oklahoma State was well, they won the Big 12 that year, but they were ass defensively compared to LSU. The disrespect, man. The disrespect is unreal. Blaine Smith says his strength of schedule is drastically better than the other candidates, without question, because they're not playing anybody, man. They're not playing anyone. That's why it's drastically different. My mind just can't take this. I'll show you what he said in the Ruffino's rants to start the show. It's just not, like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand it. Like, I really just don't understand it. I don't know. I didn't respond to him. I just didn't respond to him after, because I don't get it. We got a lot to get into. All right. Where are you listening to us from tonight? Give us the location, not your address. We got people sending us addresses. Don't send us addresses. I'm not coming to hang out with you. I'm not coming to drink beer with you. I'm not coming to drink some whiskey with you. And, well, if you got some good, depends on what kind of whiskey you got, because that could be an exception. Regardless, where are you watching from? You in the 225-318-337. Hell, are you not even in the state of Louisiana? Where are you watching us from tonight? Kevin is in League City, Texas. David Bogan is in Zachary Cutoff in the 985. Brennan Huff, who is a troll after said Ruffino versus RG3 arguing it's clown versus clown. But yet you're still here, buddy. And every time that you click on that thing, I get paid. So thank you. Every time you click to watch a show, I get paid. Mainly because of our great friends right over here at betonline.ag, which you can use your mobile device to sign up today. Use that promo code BELIEVE50. That's BELIEVE50 at checkout. So thank you. Don't you feel like, who's the clown now? I get paid. You live in your mom's basement. You're probably more like in a double wide, and you're probably, if you have a significant other, she's probably cheating on you. General says, I'm in LSU, baby. Okay. I like it. LA Mom is in Prairieville. Charlottesville, Virginia, says Kidrick, Washington. Good to have you here. See, this is the thing that with LSU media or whoever Brennan Huff is. Y'all, you dudes come in here and you try to troll and then you get roasted like a dumbass. Mikey Cecil is in Stonewall, Louisiana. 318-31 great. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Brandon Reese says Jaden wins the Heisman. That'll probably help us get Bryce Underwood. I think Bryce Underwood comes. I put my pick in. But I think that what Jaden Daniels has done already will help get him here. Bruce Steele, what's up, Bruce? Says hire Elijah Robinson. Sends a $4.99 super chat. Says hire Elijah Robinson as the DC. Recruiting and D-line play instantly. Go Tigers, and he is in San Diego. Mikey, thank you, Bruce, for the super chat. Yeah, so about Elijah. He's not calling defenses now. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. He would recruit at a very high level. I don't hate him being your DC. The question becomes, number one, and I've said this for 3 weeks, even if I believe that there should be a change, whether you agree or disagree with me, Bruce, I just don't know if I am willing to talk about candidates before a guy's been fired, right? Like, I don't necessarily like doing that because he's not fired yet, right? Like, and so I think we get into a space where if a dude's not fired and we're trying to replace him before he is officially fired, could be dangerous, man. Could be absolutely dangerous. But I appreciate the super chat. I don't hate the pick. I especially don't hate the pick because of the fact that he would recruit really well at defensive line. Maybe there's some other things going on there, and maybe why you're seeing some of the recruits, shift a little bit. All right, one more before we get rolling here. Jonathan May says, Dayton, Tennessee. The wife and I got to witness JD5's greatness in Tiger Stadium. Good to have you with us here, and glad that glad you got to witness that, man. It's something that everybody should witness because he's that good. All right, let's get rolling. Let me talk about, and I talked about him last night, but I got to mention him again. Our good friends, our new sponsors here at AYS, Avid Inspection Specialist, mold inspections, asbestos inspections, lead inspections, drone inspections. They do it all, guys. Don't make the problem, if you're trying to buy a home, you're trying to buy a business, make it the seller's issue, not yours. Get that home inspected. They have an 11-month new warranty inspections, and Christian is our guy, man. 225-717-5591. 225-717-5591. Let them know Blake Ruffino sent you on by LHI number 11331. Get to a very quick break. Let's talk about what RG3 said, why he believes Jaden Daniels doesn't lead for the Heisman, and why he wouldn't get his vote at the current moment. One thing LSU must do against Georgia State, and Memphis Spence joins us at 7:30, so a lot to get into. Don't go anywhere. We're back next. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events, with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
We're back. All right. So in case you missed it today, which didn't happen too long ago, myself and a former Heisman Trophy winner, RG3, got in it. But before I read that, guys, we can take it down. Before I read what happened today, let me just say this. I love RG3. Our argument is not the argument that I am going to have is not hateful. I see a lot of people calling him a clown. I think he tries to do too much on the play-by-play calls. Like, you guys remember when Jaden Daniels got picked up in a game against Ole Miss, he said it looked like the man got put on a cross. Like, come on, man. Like, you can't say stuff like that, all right? Like, that kind of stuff is just like you're going well over and beyond what you should do. But today, Robert Griffin III came out and said that he would have Michael Penix Jr. and Bo Nix above Jaden Daniels for the Heisman. Now, we're going to have Memphis Spence here in a minute. He votes on multiple awards. We're going to ask him the question what he thinks of Jaden Daniels. But this is the conversation that we had on social media today with our guy, RG3. Now, again, just to preface, I don't hate the man. I actually kind of like the man. I think he was a fantastic quarterback. But RG3 said, Blake, basically, that loss was in October because I said, well, Bud, you lost to Oklahoma State that year who won the Big 12 in your conference in 11. So he said that loss was in October. Baylor went on to win 5 straight, beating number 5 Oklahoma and number 24 Texas in 2 of our last 3 games. I love James' game, and he is amazing. He still can win the Heisman, but right now losing to Bama hurt him. He needs help to win it because he would need to win it because of other factors. All right, meaning he'd need to win the Heisman because of other factors. This is my response to him. If memory serves me correctly, you threw 2 interceptions against Oklahoma State in that game, the best team that you played. You didn't score a touchdown until the 4th quarter when you were down 49-3. Oklahoma State won the conference that year, and neither Texas or Oklahoma are better than this year's Alabama team. No one in the history of Nick Saban's tenure at Alabama has had 300 total yards against him in a half. So, what does that mean? RG3 would go on to say, yeah, but Oklahoma was number 5 in the country when we upset them in November. What does it matter when the losses do or don't happen? What is your logic based off of that? You had the same amount of losses that he has right now. Your defense was ranked better. Oh, and by the way, the best team in your conference, the year that you won it, blanked you for 3 quarters. You threw 2 interceptions through the first 3 quarters. You had 170 yards passing and 190 total yards through 3 quarters. Jaden Daniels did something on Nick Saban that's never happened. Last week against Florida, he did something that nobody, not even you, did ever in college football. Cam Newton, Tim Tebow, hell, another dual threat guy, Eric Couch, yourself. He threw for 372 yards and ran for another 200 plus. Oh, and by the way, memory serves me correctly because this is what we do here on this show. We come prepared. As our good friend Josh Pate would say, paper pop. Florida's defense last week, total defense, 40th. Wait, they didn't play Rudy Putek last week? They played the total defense in the country as of last week that was in the top 40? Oh, so it wasn't Grambling. It wasn't Popcorn Tech. It wasn't the School of the Blind. And I don't discriminate anybody who is. I'm just saying, you get what I'm trying to say here. As God is my witness, you're going to have to tell me who has taken more criticism at LSU just for on-the-field stuff more than Jaden Daniels in 2 years more than him. That's had the success that he's had. Guys, he is the second best player in LSU football history. I know that you've had Tyrann Mathieu. I know that you've had Glenn Dorsey. I know that you had a Heisman Trophy winner in Billy Cannon. Nobody but Joe Burrow can ever say that they are better than Jayden Daniels this season. No one. Well, Mr. Blake, what about the Florida State game? I am so glad you asked, because against Auburn in 2019, Joe threw for 350 yards and 1 touchdown. He had 1 pick. It's almost identical to the stats. Almost identical to the stats of what Burrow and Jayden had. Jayden against Florida State, Burrow against Auburn. Did you see the thing today that Jayden Daniels, there's only one quarterback in the last 20 years, one, that has won the Heisman, that has more total yards and total touchdowns than Jayden Daniels? The guy's name was Joe Burrow. Not Johnny Football, not Tim Tebow. None of them. Well, those guys had national titles. No, that Tim Tebow's ass didn't. Ty Detmer won it. He was 8-3-2 on the year. Guys, they had ties back in the day. But for some of you, when you were still in your mama's womb, some of you, your mama's ovaries, Ty Detmer had 2 ties. You know what the biggest thing for me is that in back-to-back weeks, Jayden Daniels broke arguably the 2 toughest stats that we've seen in the last 20, 30, 40 years. How can you say that Nick Saban has a top 10, 15 defense this year and is arguably the best coach of all time, and nobody has ever had 300 yards and a half against him in the first half, and then Jayden did what he did last week against Florida? It's asinine. If we're going to use big vocabulary words, it's asinine. I respect RG3. I think that his opinion matters, right? Like, look, he is a Heisman Trophy winner. His opinion matters. But what about Michael Penix almost losing to Stanford a couple of weeks ago? I'm old enough to remember that. Oh, wait, that's right. Bo Nix also lost to Michael Penix and had a late game turnover to lose that football game. Huh. Oh, 4 times in the red zone, Bo Nix threw the football to give his team the lead and he couldn't convert in crunch time? Huh. Couldn't be Jayden. No, see, what Jayden had to do was he had to go on the road to Ole Miss and score 49 points for his team to remotely have a freaking chance. What are we arguing? Now, we have a lot of people that some people will tune in, like Brendan Huff did earlier, who trolled us. People from other fan bases or wherever they're from that will watch our live show, they'll watch our clips, and they'll say to themselves, oh, Blake's just being a homer. Okay. That sounds, it's okay. Wins and losses are a team stat. And if they're not a team stat, if wins and losses are not a team stat, well, then we're going to need it, make it a team award. Right? It's an individualized award. Oh, and by the way, it's funny that y'all bring this up. How many losses did Caleb Williams have when he went up to the podium last year and hoisted that trophy? Oh, that's right. He had 3 losses. That's right. He had 3 losses. Oh, wait. 2 of them came to the same team? Oh, damn. Oh, wait. One of those losses came when he turned the ball over 3 times in a row? Oh, damn. Oh, wait. The Heisman Trophy winner from last year lost to Tulane? Damn. Huh. Oh, wait, the Heisman Trophy winner in 2007 lost to LSU? Huh. Interesting. Oh, RG3, you got blanked against Oklahoma State, and the second string for Oklahoma State had to come in for you to score a touchdown, and you still won? Huh. Interesting. I'm not coming off this hill, man. If you've ever watched football a day in your life, you know that that dude's the best player in the country. You know that he is. All right. Memphis Spence in 2 minutes. All right, let me just say this before I get to Memphis. I know last night a lot of you wanted us to move on and not talk about and break down Georgia State. And I understand that. Let me just tell you one thing before we get to our guy Memphis. Okay? I know Brian Kelly was yesterday on the SEC teleconference in reference to when he leave Jaden in the football game to help, quote unquote, pad his stats if the game got away from him. I think LSU is going to blow out Georgia State. Don't misunderstand what I'm about to tell you. But Georgia State is a top 10 team in the country on offense on third down. Guys, you were abysmal on third down defensively. You better not let them play. You better not play around with them. Again, you're going to win the football game. No question about it. Like, no question about it. But if there's one thing that Georgia State is elite at, it is running the ball on first and second down and getting 3rd and 2 and converting third downs. They have more third down attempts than anybody in the country. They're converting at a higher rate than almost anybody in the country. I would make the argument if you put it down to, I think they have close to 75 to 80 more attempts than anybody else in the country. If you relatively put everybody on the same playing field, and we did this today, did you know that Georgia State would be the number 1 team in the country on third down? Don't play around with them. I'm just telling you that this is how teams, you look up in the second half or going into the second half, and you're like, God damn, Jane Daniels put up 35 yards in the first half. How in the hell did we give up 21 points to their ass? Don't play with them. Don't play with them. Again, you're going to blow them out. I'm not saying that. I think my score prediction, I'm putting LSU maybe even close to the 60s, right? Like, I think that they're going to run it up a little bit. And I feel bad for Georgia State that you got to go through that. But it's not my fault, cuh. It ain't my fault. The only thing that's happening here, and let me tell you what's really happening here. The problem is that all this bullshit that's being talked out on Twitter, you're pissing LSU off. Deep sourcing, I'm telling you, you're pissing people off up there. And if you don't want, all right, they're going to run it up a little bit, and you better be ready. All right. The man, the myth, the legend is back. Y'all tag me on Twitter, Mr. Blake. Basically, this is how it went. We want Memphis. We want Memphis. You know, it's like you had a concert and you say, one more song. One more song. Texted the man this morning at like 7 o'clock. He's like, let's do it. Good to have him on here. Let's talk about our good friend Carol Falls over at State Farm, our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. The man's back. Stay with us. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Falls and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with a great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Falls has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com.
Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vignair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino with AYS sent you on by.
Surprise, surprise, the king is back. What's up, my man? Memphis Spence is in the building.
Hey, my man. You good? You good? It sounds like you were getting into with RG3. I'm like, is Blake good? Does he need to tap in or something? Does he need me to explain to RG3 how I voted for him and also how I voted for Lamar Jackson? Does he need that? I mean, I could tap in, but I left it alone. So now you can handle your own.
Here's my problem. Okay. Of all people, so two things. Memphis,
right.
Of all people that should be defending him, you know what? Tyrann Mathieu should have won your award in 2011 then, because he was the most electrifying player in the country. Okay, but you're a quarterback, and it's a quarterback-driven award. Okay, sounds fine. It is what it is. But Memphis, he got blanked against Oklahoma State. Their second team came in the fourth quarter, and he finally had a touchdown. What would happen? Let me tell you what would happen if Jaden Daniels did that. They would talk so much crazy shit about him. He's had to go off Memphis. LSU would be a sub 500 team without Jaden Daniels.
Easily. We know this defense isn't what, and I kind of spotted it early. I was like, the last time I was on your show, I was like, you know something? DBU doesn't look like DBU. I mean, there's some serious secondary issues basically going on with LSU. The only saving grace is what Jaden Daniels is doing on offense. And I think it was right before the Auburn game, because I pointed out that Auburn hadn't given up a passing touchdown in the red zone all year. Jaden, I think, had 2. And I was like, okay, let me write that down. Because nobody else has done it. He's done it twice. All right. Those are things I look for. When I'm looking for whether or not this player is superior to other players, I look, is he doing things that other players can't do? Nobody else in the SEC is doing it. Why is he? Right? And how is he doing it? Here's the most interesting thing about Jaden, because I'm telling you, I keep making this comparison, and it sounds like people are missing it. This guy is Lamar Jackson-esque. I'm telling you. Well, if you go back and compare what Lamar Jackson did at Louisville, and you look at what Jaden Daniels did, just put them side by side. It's Lamar Jackson-esque. Now, I know I was one of the only guys that thought he was like a high 4 or 5 coming out of high school. I know it. I know that he was getting 4 stars and high 3 stars, and I was like, what are people missing? So I get how people can miss this because I've seen it happen before. I've watched people miss on Lamar Jackson. And
31 teams in the NFL passed up on him.
Exactly. I've watched people miss on Lamar Jackson, and he's still starting right now for Baltimore, and people are looking around like, man, this kid's still good. Well, he's an NFL MVP. There's a reason for that. I'm saying that Jaden Daniels is Lamar Jackson-esque. There are some things that Lamar Jackson does better than Jaden. There's some things that Jaden does better than Lamar. So I'm looking at this and I'm comparing the two. When did we give Lamar Jackson the Heisman? We also gave him the Maxwell, by the way. First year.
Just so our listeners who don't know, which you're a voter for.
I'm a voter for the Maxwell Award. And the semifinalists came out. I told you I was voting for him. And it's basically the other Heisman, if you think about it like that. It's the best player in college football. What did Lamar Jackson do that year? Well, he ended up 7-4. How did that go? Well, he lost to Clemson. You know, Clemson went on and won the national championship that year.
Yeah.
And he had 2 late losses. Houston, and interestingly enough, Houston
LSU.
was in the American Athletic Conference, was still in the American Athletic Conference. I think Louisville had left either year, I think 2 years before. But Houston, he lost to Houston late in the season, and then to Kentucky, back-to-back. At the end of the season, back-to-back losses, Houston and Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those teams weren't 10-win teams. I think Houston, as a matter of fact, Houston went on to play us at the end, Memphis, and lost that game. So they beat Lamar Jackson, but couldn't beat Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
That's Houston. That's the type of team Houston is. And then of course you get into your rival Kentucky. They didn't have anything to do that year. I think they were like a 6-6 team or something like that. Or maybe only had 5 wins at that time. I don't know. But they won. They had to beat this guy, and they did it. They beat Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing about that season is that when you go back and look at it, I think Lamar Jackson had 30 touchdowns because that was one of the marks I was looking at. And right now, I believe
Jayden Daniels has 38.
had 30 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Season's not over yet, though.
Yeah, I mean, look,
compare rushing yards.
Georgia State's pass defense, Memphis, just so you know, I think Grambling, so HBCU, FCS Grambling, has a better secondary than Georgia State. They are horrible. Like, this man might have 300 passing yards in the first half if they're not careful. I'm dead serious.
He could run it up. I mean, he might get to 4,000 before everything's all said and done this year.
He would be the only player not named Joe Burrow, if he does what we think he can do, to be the only player to have 5,000 total yards and 40-plus touchdowns. That's Memphis, what are we talking about here?
We're talking about revisionist history because people like, and I get it. Look, I'm getting old. You see this gray. I forget things too. I forget things too. People forget. I mean, RG3 might have forgotten exactly how his season went that year. People forget about Lamar Jackson and seeing how electric he was.
Citrus Bowl. He got blanked in that Citrus Bowl versus LSU.
Exactly, blanked. The defense, their defense was terrible.
Terrible.
Oh, imagine how he played on a bad defensive team, yet he was one of the shining stars on it. That sounds like Jayden Daniels. This is you can make almost a 1-to-1 comparison between Jayden and Lamar Jackson.
I agree.
And I don't understand why people don't see it. For me, it's something that it's easy for me to see because I'm like, okay, I remember. There are some people that believe that wins and losses should be hung on the quarterback. And as I see this game, as you see this game, it's a team stat. If you don't have a defense, especially the people that don't understand defense, they'll always say wins and losses are on a quarterback. Like they'll hang the losses on Shedeur and not realize, A, he doesn't have an offensive line, and B, that defense is suspect. It's probably worst defense in the FBS. It's an interesting thing, but they can't. They don't have the ability to actually look at the player and evaluate the player for who the player is. You know, they're just looking at the team and how the team's winning and losing and hanging on him. And the opposite, honestly, I'll say who's benefiting from their team more than they're helping out? Bo Nix. I'm telling you this right now. Bo Nix, now, has he done better than he ever did at Auburn? Absolutely. Has he progressed since Auburn? Absolutely. But I guarantee you right now, there would be no question on who's winning a national championship if Jayden Daniels was on Oregon. None. The question is whether or not Bo Nix can win those big games. That's always been the question. He had one against even
Washington. Well, I mean,
exactly,
the thing with me with Bo Nix, Memphis, is simple. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jayden Daniels, every single week this year, whether it be Ole Miss, who, by the way, is going to be a 10-win team during the regular season. The only time that it's happened twice in their history is under Lane Kiffin. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, he had to do it against Missouri, who's going to be the second team in the East. He beat them single-handedly, okay,
yep.
who just dismantled Tennessee, which, by the way, a little brag on myself. I picked Missouri to finish second in the East. Just going to throw that out there. Okay. And then you go to Alabama. I understand he got knocked out. Okay. I get it. All right. But he tied the game late in the first half with that amazing pass. They score. He comes back out in the second half. Nobody, literally nobody this season has scored a second half touchdown coming out at half against Alabama. He did it. Now then, he has an interception on the pick or on the tap up. Okay. Well, why can't LSU's team defense make a stop? Okay. If they make one stop, that game's 28-21. He's got the ball back.
Yep,
So
exactly.
but here's the biggest thing for me, though. I say all of that, even to Lamar. Ain't nobody throwing the ball around in the country like he is and running the way that he is, right? Like Memphis, he's insane. So
Lamar won the Heisman and he had 9 interceptions and 30 touchdowns. Jaden, I think, only has 4 interceptions. And that's what
5 total turnovers. By the way, Bo Nix has that almost against Washington.
Right. If you're looking at efficiency, and see, I know I get it. Some advanced analytics and everything else are more NFL stuff than college stuff, right? We use the eye test. We still use stuff like that. But if you're just looking at quarterback efficiency, you can go look up this stat right now. Jaden Daniels leads all quarterbacks in QB efficiency. Now, that should matter at some point in time. When you're trying to differentiate between, quarterback, okay, what does this mean? Well, what's he doing? 30 touchdowns, and as a quarterback, 30 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's amazing by itself. You can stop right there because we know that Lamar Jackson won it in 2016 with 30 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. So if you think about what he's done, and I compare those defenses, that Louisville defense was kind of terrible, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was this LSU defense is. I haven't seen
what there is. Call them what their ass.
I was like, man, Matt House, man, that's borrow time, my friend.
Very much so. Let me ask you. Let me turn the page on you really quickly.
Yes.
A&M. Okay, their job is obviously open. Now, I'm old enough to remember when you came on the show about a month ago and I asked you if you thought that they buy him out, and you said yes. And I will be honest with you. I took a step back because I was like, man, that's a lot of money. And you didn't flinch. I'll give you your flowers on that one. I'm not surprised by the firing. I actually think it's somewhat of a flex that they can spend that amount of money to tell a dude not to coach. But who do you think, you're in that world, you talk to a lot of people, who do you think that they go after at A&M?
Well, what they're going to have to do, and I think it's going to be Elko. What they're going to look at, and I don't think they're going to. I was actually telling Mike, forgot Mike here in Tampa. He's an LSU fan. I was telling him this today. There's not going to be. You're not going to see 10-year contracts anymore. You just won't. Broadcast contracts have changed now. They're maybe 5 years at best. As a matter of fact, the ACC
everything's going incentive based. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's going to be more
incentive based and less time because things are changing so fast. I mean, there are people in the control room that are going to get replaced by AI in 5 years, maybe within 5 years. But because of that, broadcast is changing. 5-year deals are more the standard than 10. If you can't guarantee somebody's contract if you don't know what you're getting paid for 10 years. Now, the ACC's trapped in this long. The broadcast contracts used to be as long as possible. Like if we can lock them in for 10, 15, 20 years, well, let's do it. And it was great for both sides. But now things are changing so fast. Valuations are changing so fast. You're not going to be able to do that. You don't know what it's worth. You'll get caught out here like the Pac-12, thinking you're worth something. Somebody told you you're worth something. You're not worth that. And everybody's gone. So you're not going to have long contracts anymore. I don't expect to see any more 10-year contracts. I just don't think it's going to sell for anybody. I mean, really. outside maybe your top tier 1 or 2 guys. Maybe you can pull that off. Elko for 5 years is what I'm thinking. That makes the most sense in my mind. Duke's, I mean, if you can do it at Duke with all the restrictions, with all you could do it at A&M. There's no, A&M can't say that they have higher, graduate requirements than Duke. I mean, and I think it was a flag.
They got a whole lot of weirdness.
Those midnight yells is something else,
bro. That's so weird. Look, I got a beard, drink whiskey, and also listen.
Look,
I got a cowboy hat right here. But let me tell you what my country ass don't do. Okay, my country ass ain't gonna be yelling at no 12 o'clock. I promise you that. You know what I mean?
No. Even it's weird. It's weird. But A&M. The thing about them is, and I think people didn't think that they could buy out. If you could actually issue that, you could buy it out basically. And I saw A&M. As a matter of fact, the reason why Texas and Oklahoma are headed to the SEC is there was one year, I forgot what year it was. I want to say maybe 2015, 2016, 2017 is one of those 3 years where A&M was either first or second in terms of athletic revenue in the country. And
yeah,
I remember thinking to myself, when I started on radio, they were like 33rd. How did they did they just move to the SEC and all of a sudden they're first? They got money just throwing money around like that. Plus
Manziel. I don't think people realize what happened when Manziel went there. Their tuition went up, and then their academic enrollees went up twofold. Literally, they have more people enrolled at Texas A&M than anywhere in the country. I don't think people realize that. Memphis, let's just say it's not this. It's much more expensive than this. Let's say one semester costs you $10,000 for one semester. Okay. Now do that times 103,000.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
But we know it's closer to 30.
Correct.
30 grand.
And you know what's even more wild about that? The funniest thing I've ever seen in college football. You know that their athletic department got issued a $160 million check at halftime. The next day, Jimbo was fired.
Yep.
Now let me ask you, what do you think about Jeff Traylor at UTSA?
I rarely say this about coaches because a lot of times we don't know. I think that's too big of a step for him. Now look, I've met Traylor and honestly he's an excellent coach. But what they want, he has an aspect of what they want, but I don't think he has everything. He can recruit. He can, he can campaign. They need a campaigner. But I think Elko also, putting the right people around yourself in those positions is key. You have to have the right coordinators around, and rebuilding a program or actually getting a program like Duke in the conversation. The idea that we'd say, yeah, Duke's out here beating Clemson. Not far after Clemson won a national championship, that's ridiculous.
Well,
I think he's probably a better fit for A&M in the situation they are, because they're going to have to, if they hire Traylor, then it may be a two-step program. It may be a, hey, Texas, come in here, clean this place up for a couple of years, and then we'll go after who we really want. And some people are advocating for that just because they know the financial situation better than I do. I still think that they have enough money to go after whoever they want right now. Now they can't miss on this one.
They cannot miss. They
cannot miss. If you're going to have a contract $5 million or above, you can't miss on this one. But hiring Traylor, you might be able to get Traylor at a discount. You might be able to get him for $4 million a year.
Here's my thing, though, and I know that you spent $78 million. I get it's a lot of money. And who am I to speak on money? Because it's not mine. I didn't have to stroke that check.
Right.
Everybody keeps telling me Dan Lanning's out of play because of the $20 million buyout, and I'm saying, listen, they want to win. They want to win, right? That's what they want to do. And let me tell you something. If you spend $78 million to buy out Jimbo and another $20 million to buy out Dan Lanning and the staff, and you do what you got to do, and you're $100 million into this. If you get it right, Memphis, he's worth $100 million.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
So the argument isn't here. It's ludicrous. Now, the only question becomes, is Dan Lanning that next dude? I don't know if he is. I don't know. He said,
okay. And that's actually an excellent question. So when Jimbo got fired, I asked myself, who would I go after? Who's my first call? Make Lanning say no. But it's not the buyout. What's 20 million these days? For a program like that's willing to go and throw 76 to have somebody sit around, what's 20 million? I mean, they might as well. I mean, that's a third of what they just spent.
Right.
You go get, of course, that's the buyout doesn't matter right now. What matters is Phil Knight. Is Phil Knight going to let that guy leave? No, that's not. They could get into a bidding war, and it is probably going to end up really nice
for Dan Lanning.
Is it for Lanning? Yeah. But I'm not even sure that Lanning. Look, if Lanning took over that program, and they gave Lanning everything he wanted, he'd probably win a championship.
He's going to recruit his ass off. He's going to recruit his ass off.
But I'm not exactly sure if at A&M, it's almost they need a certain personality there, and I'm not sure if Lanning may be a little bit too rough under the edges. He's not going to be able to. If you watch that Washington game and watch him not kick those field goals, he's not going to be able to get away with that at A&M. He's not going to be able to gamble. He's not going to be able to be himself.
Yeah,
he's still at a program where he can roll the dice because Oregon.
Let me ask you an off the wall question.
Yeah.
I know everybody keeps telling me no. And that it ain't gonna happen. You know who I'm about to ask. What about Lane Kiffin?
Oh, I thought you were going with Urban Meyer.
Okay, well go with him too.
Lane Kiffin, I mean, Lane will travel. Does Lane want? Does Lane want to be?
Billy Lucci's a lot of things. Billy Lucci came out on his radio show today and said that he can confirm that Lane wants the job. Now, he's the man that broke the story on Jimbo before Jim. Look, so this is what I know. This is what I know for a fact. Jimbo sent media members Lucci's text saying this isn't true. Sent it to his AD and Ross Bjork, and Bjork said, "Can you come to my office?" He found out off of Lucci's Twitter. Okay, so let me say this. If Lane wants it.
Lane's somebody that I haven't. He's already in the SEC. You take away from Mississippi, who's kicking your butt right now. That's a win-win.
And then he just got dismantled by Georgia. And then his post-game press conference goes, I can't get the 5 stars here. It's basically what he's saying. I can't recruit here.
But you could at A&M.
But you could at A&M.
And you could at A&M.
This is going to be the second time that his name, I'm telling you, listen, his name going to float up here in the next 3 days. His name going to float up. I
don't think that's out of the question. As a matter of fact, he's probably in the top 5.
Now, what about Urban?
I would definitely throw him in the top 5 of guys that you should call and make say no before you keep going. And actually, logistically, it might work, honestly, because if you can cripple an opponent and rise up at the same time, it makes a lot of sense to do that. So it could happen. I mean, to the chagrin of Ole Miss, now if you said Mississippi State, obviously it would. But and Ole Miss tries to be the brass of that state, but it's Mississippi. I mean, not taking away. They have some really good barbecue down there too, but it's Mississippi. I mean, it's not. They're not. There are certain tiers to this thing, and they're not in a tier that can hold a championship coach for very long. And they're getting very close to playing for an SEC championship. So I think I'm with you on that. I think
what about Urban? I don't.
That's
I just don't think there's any way.
To me, that's the most interesting one because I'm just like, well, if you're Urban Meyer, what's the point? Why would you come back? Unless
why that school?
Well, because they just paid that guy. I mean, if you end up if he gets some sort of deal like Jimbo, you take it. Because worst case scenario, you end up with $76 million. And you're like, well, you know, I'm $76 million richer after a couple of years.
Hey, you want to laugh? You want to laugh your ass off? You want to laugh your ass off? I had an SEC coach text me the clip of Rush Hour when Chris Tucker said 20 million 20s, 10 million and 10s. You want any fives with that?
Right.
I agree with that. I think that he cares more about legacy to some extent than because how much money? I mean, he just got paid $30 million not to be in Jacksonville. So there comes a point where I ask the question, how much is legacy and how much is want to?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I believe that too. And I believe that when he retired from Ohio State, that's kind of what it was about.
Right.
After Jacksonville, after all this stuff about, these gals and these clubs and everything else, he may be looking right now. I mean, his personal legacy is a little bit tarnished. He may be looking for an opportunity to actually rebrand. And what's a better rebrand? Hey, I wanted Florida. I wanted Ohio State. Those are blue. I mean, I guess those are blue blood schools. Texas A&M ain't won nothing in a long time. If I can at least win them an SEC championship, not even college football playoff, but an SEC championship. If I can win an SEC championship at A&M, why wouldn't I be the greatest? Why wouldn't my name be right there? And if I can do it, beating Nick Saban at the end of his career, why wouldn't I be, one of the greatest? Why wouldn't my name be next to his? And I think that's something that I started, me and the guys over at the Football Writers Association, we have these little Twitter groups and everything else, and we're throwing names in there. And when Herbs came up, I was like, nah. And then people started making arguments, and I was like, you know something? This doesn't sound as far-fetched as possible. Not having nothing to do. If you just took A&M off because eventually he's going to have to put a shirt on. But if you took A&M off and put up $76 million or $100 million in a contract, because there's not that many schools that can. There's maybe 10 schools that can do that. And you've already been to one of those schools. I don't even know if Florida could do that. But if you get paid that much, and you're looking for an opportunity to kind of rebuild yourself after your Jacksonville fallout, after all this, negative press personally, what best case scenario, you get an SEC championship for A&M, maybe get into the college football playoffs for the first time. Worst case scenario, $76 million. I mean, I want the same contract. I'll do better. And I think that if I'm Urban Meyer and I still am even remotely concerned about anything with my legacy, that's a perfect opportunity to take a team that really they got nothing to lose right now and really take that team somewhere that they've never been.
The only national title they've won since 1936 is in meat judging, like cow, like T-bones, ribeye. I'm not joking. That is what they've won it in. Okay.
Meat.
I think legacy is important, especially when you have children. I might be a damn fool, but if you pay me $76 million to not do something, my legacy is written for generations on top of generations. It doesn't matter what you think. Right. All right.
Even if it's 50. I mean, $50 million is a lot of money, man. And I look at that. I look at what the contracts, and you may not be able to put because contracts are going to be changing here and be very incentive based and be shorter. You may not be able to put your hands on the type of money that Texas A&M is willing to pay now.
that the incentive-based contracts, he could get a $5 million bump if he had the number one total offense in the country. That's what kind of stuff that they're talking about. All right, I got like 2 minutes. Let me ask you this. UCLA, Mississippi State, any traction on those in your opinion?
I mean, Kelly, honestly, I really wanted to see what Brian Kelly, I really want to see what Brian Kelly could do in the Big Ten. I'm like, well, I don't.
You mean Chip?
Oh, yeah, Chip Kelly. I wanted to see what he could do in the Big Ten. I think that his schemes, personally, his offensive schemes, would work better in the Big Ten than they have in the Pac-12, and I would want to see at least 1 year of that.
The only thing is he's 33 and 33 at UCLA. Like, sometimes you got to want to be better. You know,
it's mediocrity, and you know,
I could go 33 and 33 at UCLA.
It's media. I mean, I still want to see him play some of the. I wanted to see him against some of these Big Ten teams just to see exactly what that offense looked like against those. But Martin Jarman, hey, smart, very smart guy.
Right.
He really knows what he's doing, and if he wants to make the move now, then there's a reason. As a matter of fact, that's where I thought Lane Kiffin was going.
UCLA.
I don't know if going to the Big Ten, getting paid more. If you can't get it, you could get 5 stars at UCLA. You could get paid at UCLA. You don't have to play Nick Saban at UCLA. If you think your offense is really all that, you go to UCLA, you end up, playing against Ohio State or Michigan in a championship game. That may be a better situation than and LA is LA.
Yeah, he's going to have to go through Kirby, Nick, Kelly every year. And whoever A&M hires. By the way, Sark's in the league.
Right.
So it's going to be tough.
Once Oklahoma and Texas get over, you're just like, well, what am I doing here?
Right. He's not going to get 10 wins.
So
moving on Summerall to Mississippi State?
I haven't heard anything of that nature just yet. But it doesn't sound out of the question to me. Like when people were throwing it around, I was like, that kind of makes sense.
If I'm Mississippi State, I'm calling Ed Orgeron right now.
I don't know why they haven't.
I'm kind of joking, but then in another, I'm not.
I don't know why they haven't. If you're Mississippi State, you just take Mississippi State. Mississippi State is one of those teams in the SEC that you look around and you're like, hey guys, you're not that much better than Memphis. You really aren't. If you just close your eyes and replace Memphis with Mississippi State, probably have the same team in the SEC. And so it's just like one of those, guys, you're gonna have to do something to be better than Memphis. You're in the SEC. Do something with that money. We would do something with that money. Go out there and spend on somebody. Go grab somebody that's going to make you a team that can win 9-10 games and at least be in the conversation. Because with Texas and Oklahoma coming in, it's going to get real bleak for some of these teams. And you're going to see coaches start looking at those jobs like, I don't know if I can be bowl eligible with this squad. If you really don't have it to get, I'm not coaching to be a doormat. If you don't really have a game plan together defensively, first of all, and then offensively, the SEC is going to get really, really hard to actually win. I think even harder.
I think now with the extended playoff, you could lose the SEC and win the Natty.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right. Like I think it becomes like baseball. Who wins the SEC? Well, LSU doesn't win the tournament. Oh, well, they win the Natty. Well, it's just when you do that, teams don't win the conference, but win the Natty. All right. I kept you too long. Thank you so much. Tell everybody where they can find all your stuff, my man.
You can find me on Sports Radio America, sportsradioamerica.com, the TuneIn app, noon to 2 Eastern, Monday and Thursday. We have a really good beat writer named Serenity Martin, an LSU beat writer. Follow her. Don't you guys know who I am? Follow Serenity Martin She's your LSU beat writer on Sports Radio America. She's going to be covering the women's team. She's done some really good articles on certain guys on the football team. She knows her stuff. She knows her stuff also. So follow Serenity Martin and follow her work on Sports Radio America.
Thanks for joining me, buddy.
Take care, my friend.
That is Memphis Spence, always fantastic in everything that he does. Listen, go to Ruffino and Joe show. We put up our picks here. I'm going to read them off to you very, 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 very quickly. Okay? That's not it. Here it is. Here are my picks for the week. You can take it or leave it. That's also not it. That's also not it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. All right, here are my picks for the week. Georgia over Tennessee, Oregon State over Washington. I'm picking the upset there. They're actually a favorite in that game. Arizona over Utah. Clemson over North Carolina, Louisville, Kansas State, USC, and Texas. You want to win some money? We're almost 70% on the year. Take the money line. Don't do the points. Just have fun, play. See y'all tomorrow. Peace.